Caution, wait, please do not play with my mind, hey. I do not play with my lines, wait. I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution, wait, please do not play with my mind, hey. I do not play with my lines, wait. I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution. Look at my face, pay me respect, please do not play with my line. If you want taste, what you gon' get? Shit that gon' bury your mind. All that's at stake, where is my check? Need every nickel and dime. You play with my race, put you in check, but stopping the vision to climb. They mad that these niggas done woke up and now all our visions to go. Where is the bag to get us so caught up? Yeah, that is the mission and goal. Staying on cold, some of y'all doing too much. Straight up be looking like hoes, never gonna grow. Can't count on you on cuz most of y'all doing the most. Like this is a show, doing it for entertainment. Or you're doing it for doubt. Or you're doing it to sit at the table with crackers for words in your mouth. I don't play with enslavement. These are the days of the South. These days we play differently. This is what black empowerment's about. Wait, I said there's no time for no friends. Either you with us against us, don't switch it, cause one of us dying to end. Hey, I'm keeping my eye on the lens. Watching the ops despising the picture cause they wanna see the white end. Hey, caution, wait, please do not play with my mind. Hey, I do not play with my life. Wait, I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution, wait, please do not play with my mind. Hey, I do not play with my life. Wait, I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution.
Hold on, wait, see a black man doing great with black-owned businesses, building in a different state. Why you snakes way late in the grass, plotting on what you can take? Black money in a black bank, mean black money is safe, protected, like it's heavily protected. If he ever feels threatened, then he go with lead and knock him off his check, check this. For the record, he can never be weak. Disrespecting any checking your cheek. Rep said he reppin' red, black, and green. Never fall, won't break. There's no limit to what I do for mine. But you so they don't take them up with the anger and hate up all of my ancestors combined. You wanna get one time? I keep it fully loaded, extended in the fully auto effing to keep you from crossing that gun line. You in violation? I ain't never shot a caveman. You be the first, I'ma give you this work. You get in the way of my occupation, yeah. Like I'm the boss and I don't like the way that you talking. This is my office, get permission before you walk in. The yellow tape because the door means caution.
Wait, please do not play with my mind. Hey, I do not play with my life. Wait, I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution. Wait, please do not play with my mind. Hey, I do not play with my life. Wait, I keep protection for mine, you will not touch what is mine. I do not play with my shine, caution.
Peace and power, family. Peace and power. That was Q Butter. That was Q Butter song Caution. And I love the song because it got that vibe, like, you know, it's the drill vibe, right? But it's you know what I mean? But it's positive. He talking about black-owned businesses and all things positive. I played it for my students at Morgan and they went crazy. They was getting ready to, it's a dance out called Getting Sturdy. So they was getting ready to get sturdy on a track. And so anyway, peace to the family. I see you all are in the building. Today we're going in on the attack on Black history. And so I had to call on my brother Garfield, and brother Uncle Cat, he's going to slide in. He just texted me. He said he'll be on in a few, but I had to bring my brothers on to help me unpack this topic, right? Because we see an attack on Black history. And it's not just, you know, an external attack, it's an internal attack, right? So we see it coming from all sides. So you have Black folks, right? I would say skin folks and not kin folks, who are attacking our history, and they're misleading our people with a bunch of misinformation and disinformation regarding our history. And then you have the other folks, right? The external folks who are attacking our history as well, like DeSantis down there. He shut down the African-American AP course, African-American history AP course. And he's also getting rid of books on Black history, right? So you see that happening in addition to your Dan Calloways, right? Your Aborigines and all of that. And so anyway, I had to reach out to my brother Garfield because he did a beautiful live a few days ago, talking about our great ancestors, Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman, because people were saying they didn't exist. They had fictitious characters in history. You know, and you know, the sad part about this family is that people actually believe this stuff. That's the sad part, you know, that people actually believe. But when you're ignorant of something, you're easily misled. Let me say that again. When you are ignorant, you are easily misled. And that's what we see, family. So take a moment out to thumb up this video, family. Also, share this video. Please go and share this video. If you're on Facebook, post the link. If you're on Twitter, tweet the link. Let's get this out for the people. Let's get this information out to the people. So I'm going to bring on, without further ado, my big brother, Brother Garfield. Peace and love to you, Brother Garfield.
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? You family, so I have to show up. You call the family up. The family got to respond, you know?
And you always do.
That's
you
right.
You always do.
And this is not a personal attack on anyone who's saying this information. What we're doing is dealing with the information, and we're promoting what's the truth. If you want to claim you're an Aboriginal, Indian, Native, whatever, that you have the right to do that, but don't bring down our whole culture to make your point. That's all.
Exactly. No, exactly. No, and I agree. I'm glad that you actually began with that disclaimer that this isn't an attack on, you know, anyone personal. It's just dealing with the I'm going to say the misinformation and the disinformation that's being circulated and on YouTube and just social media in general. We see, like, you know, it's this internet is flooded with just malinformation, just bad information, Brother Garfield. And so that's why it's important for channels like you, the Dagger Squad, Pseudo Killers, Real Black Atheists, and other channels, even Science Sean, Peace of Science Sean, who's in the building. It's important, even Mossy Warrior Clan. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know if MBK still go by MBK, but I know they have, I think it's Each One Teach One now, right?
That's all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's important that these platforms continue to pump out content. Because can you imagine, Brother Garfield, if we all just say, you know what it is, and just moved on, what would they have on the internet? You get what I'm saying? And so shout out to the content creators who are actually putting out, you know, good information, authentic information to our people. So anyway, Brother Garfield, I want to start with the discussion that you had a few days ago regarding Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman. What are the sorts of things that you've been hearing about? Because you heard something that prompted you to say, I need to have this conversation. So what sort of things have you been hearing about regarding Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner? I want to start there.
Well, let's deal with one at a time. Harriet Tubman is one of the greatest abolitionists. I'm going to use that word because the source I'm going to use today regarding her is called the Abolitionist Papers, and it shows like the letters she wrote and different things. I'm going to show that on the screen in a minute. Mm-hmm. But the things I've heard is that their whole storyline is fictional. There's no reason. If you want to prove that you're an Aboriginal, you really don't need to show Harriet Tubman or Nat Turner. What you're actually doing is purposely disrespecting a culture to uplift yourself. Mm. So you don't need to do that. That's like I'm making up a new channel and I love what you're doing. I'm a bash Dr. Maat. So, and attract people to me to say, hey, don't watch Dr. Maat because of information. I don't know about that. Come watch mine because I got the better information. I don't need to bash Dr. Maat. I need to develop a channel and have my own niche so that people could come and watch Dr. Maat and also watch me. Not trying to disrespect her work, just show my work too. But what he's doing, and Brother Dane, you got to stop this, bro. This is why people are upset with you. Nat Turner is one of the major pillars as far as a revolutionary mindset, as far as abolishing slavery physically. Mm-hmm. Harriet Tubman, who is called the Moses, because she's freeing people all the way up to Canada and taking them out of slavery. These are pillars in African-American history. Why do you need to? That's like me coming from Jamaica and trying to disrespect them and say, hey, you know what? Taki is the best, man. Nat Turner ain't did shit. You know, I don't need to do that. Taki's a revolutionary. He's a part of the Akan people. Harriet Tubman is also, her grandmother was a part of the Akan people. They have something in common: revolution, abolishing slavery, fighting slavery. All we got to do is share the information with the people. It's not a competition. History is not a competition. Black folks went through slavery. It's not a joke. They're the reason why I'm here on the internet. They're the reason why Dr. Maat is here. These people took us out of slavery, fought the slave master, and then you're trying to beat them up and say, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do, try to degrade. For what though?
Exactly.
For absolutely what? So Nat Turner, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, Nat Turner had learned to read and write. He had studied the Bible. He said he was like a prophet and so forth. We're going to get into that a little bit with the newspapers clippings. But Nat Turner is what gave these slave masters a scare out of their wits, because guess what? This was a guy who was intelligent enough to preach to people to say, leave the plantation. They didn't like those type of Negroes at the time, those black folks at the time. They didn't like them because they're preaching to say, run away, get away from your slave master, move. Those type of, but, and of course, you got to have the house Negro that go back and say, hey, Nat Turner trying to plot this. You always, Denmark VC found out the hard way. You always have people who are going to go back to the master and say, hey, this is about to happen.
Right.
But at the end of the day, he set the tone. Denmark VC set the tone. Then you had David Walker riding around with his appeal. You had other people. You had what's his name? Dixon, Moses Dixon, who was about to, boy, if slavery was, if they weren't free in 1865, there's about to be a major revolution in America. I don't think a lot of people know that, what Moses Dixon did secretly, how they had an underground movement that was built up of 12,000 people ready to start a war. People don't know about Moses Dixon. They don't talk about him enough. But if they didn't free us, I mean, I'm saying us as in black folks in America at that point, 1865, boy, it was about to be some problems, some serious problems going on. But I'm ready to go into I don't know if you want to do Harriet first or you want to do Nat Turner first.
Yeah, let's do Queen Mother Harriet first. And shout out to TK who reminded me that today is our great Dr. Francis Cress Welson's birthday. So at the end of this discussion, family, I'm going to play a song that this brother, Sincere Love to God, created for Dr. Francis Cress Welson. So I'll play that at the end.
Also, it's Women's History Month.
Ashe.
All right, so let me do Harriet Tubman first. Let me see. Let me share my screen. Let me go to exhibit 1 first. I'm gonna show 2 different exhibits. All right, this is Harriet Tubman. Hold on, let me see how it looks on the screen. Yeah.
It looks good. It looks good.
It looks good. All right. So this is from the book by C. Peter Ripley. It's called The Black Abolitionist Papers, the United States, 1859 to 1865. This was written around 1992. This was the book I was actually trying to send to you, by the way.
Okay.
All right. So this is page 20. Harriet Tubman is writing a letter to her Boston friends. This is June 30th, which is actually my birthday, June 30th, 1863. The Civil War brought new responsibilities and new roles for Black women in the anti-slavery movement. They used their fundraising skills to assist contraband relief and soldiers' aid efforts in dozens of communities across the North. Let me just scroll down here. Already renowned for her Underground Railroad expeditions into the upper slave states, Harriet Tubman expanded her activities during the war. Arriving in South Carolina in May 1862, she used her knowledge of regional customs and terrain to serve the Union Army as a scout and a spy. Tubman described these activities in a 30th of June 1863 letter to friends in Boston. Sterling, we are your sisters, 245 to 305. That's the source of it. So this she's writing, she's saying, last fall, when the people here became very much alarmed for fear of an invasion from the rebels, all my clothes were packed and sent with others to Hilton Head and lost. And I have never been able to get any trace of them since. I was sick at the time and unable to look after them myself. I want among the rest a bloomer dress made of some coarse, strong material to wear on expeditions. In our late expeditions up to the Combahee River, in coming on board the boat, I was carrying 2 pigs for a sick woman. And by the way, too, I want to stress this right here, because people are running around saying that Harriet Tubman is a Hebrew Israelite, by the way, too, which is absolutely nuts. That's another case for another time. But she was carrying around 2 pigs. I don't think an Israelite would do that. Who had a child to carry, and the order double quick was given. And I started to run, stepped on my dress, it being rather long, and fell into it almost off. So that when I got on board the boat, there was hardly anything left of it but shreds. I made up my mind then I would never wear a long dress on another expedition of this kind, but would have a bloomer as soon as I could get it. So please make this known to the ladies, if you will, for I expect to have use for it very soon, probably before they can get it to me. All right. So that's one letter that she wrote, right?
So
Here,
Let me ask you a question real quick, Garfield, just to interject. And peace to brother Unc who just joined the panel. Peace and love to you, brother Unc.
Peace and love, Black African Power,
What up?
Sunshine
What up,
Black African Power, Mr. Garfield,
Yes,
and
sir.
Dr. Oh yeah, my yacht.
Right.
Peace to you. So let me give you just a little pushback. Garfield, what would you say to people who say, well, she was illiterate? How could she have written that letter?
No, because remember, to folks who say she's illiterate, they would have to prove that she has no way of communicating. Because most letters at those times, you probably would have somebody write it for you anyway. You just tell the person what to write. So even if she was illiterate, she would have people write the letters for her.
Okay, I just wanted to. Okay, I want to do that because I can hear them. I can hear them now. Garfield say, "Well, she was illiterate. How did she write this?" So I just wanted to, cover all sides.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so pretty much we have letters from her. This is the purpose of me showing this right here. This is letters back and forth over the years that she wrote. These are the primary. Let me just say it again: primary sources of Harriet Tubman. Let me just show this other slide of her stuff, and then I'll be done with her. So for folks who ask if Harriet Tubman is a real person, her real name was Araminta Ross. She changed her name to her mother's name, Harriet Tubman. Her father, they owned a pig farm, so get that whole Hebrew Israelite nonsense out the way. And so she basically grew up like pretty much any slave. Her parents were probably just basic Christians, but her grandmother have a connection to the Akan people in Ghana. All right. Here's another reference to her. Hold on 1 second. Let me just get this right here so we could have it. All right. So this is her. They're talking about her this is the same abolitionist papers, but this is not volume 5. This is volume 3, which is from 1830 to 1846. And they're talking about the secrecy and the uncertainty of his plans, talking about John Brown, worried many potential enlistees. Several black abolitionists, Douglas Delaney, William Lambert, James Gloucester, Jermaine Logan, and Harriet Tubman and others sympathized with Brown's intention but feared the retribution from whites unleashed upon their families upon free blacks. So she's been talked about in a sense of not wanting to be a part of John Brown's movement because of what he was trying to do in Boston and so forth. So I want to make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, Harriet Tubman is a real person with flesh and bones who ran the Underground Railroad called the Black Moses. She was the bomb. She was the bomb, biggity bomb, period. And saying that she don't exist is absolutely nuts. You want to add on, brother, Professor Unc?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Harriet Tubman didn't exist,
I can't believe we even talking about that. It's what I talked about last night. You know, we don't learn history from white people because they lying. It's better for us just to sit around and make it up. Yeah, we just got to make it up. It's not even we. It's the ignorant amongst us because they're ignorant at this point. You get your stuff from white people. Well, the white people was writing at that time. That's what they was doing. Okay? So it's the most craziest, outlandish thing. And I'm not ever getting in a debate with that. I'm not doing that because it's ignorance. No community sits around and do that. If you talk about Jewish people and the Holocaust, you better tread super lightly. So they in our community comfortable with that. There's no slave ships. There's no this. I'm saying I'm banging. I'm not trying to hear that. That's horrible. There has to be a line drawn in the sand with these nuts. DNA is like a roach spray to them. They run like roaches if you say DNA. All scientific things, the letters don't matter. She's illiterate. Like knock it off. But they're not gonna knock it off. So yeah, boy, I appreciate the work of banging on them because ignorant, and they're gonna teach kids to be ignorant. It's gonna have kids that's gonna be ignorant. So we got a couple generations of being ignorant flourishing right about now. And Calloway leads the way. He's an idiot, right? And you say, well, you talking down to people. No, I'm not. He's an idiot to the rest of the world. Nobody respects him. But people who are marginalized, and we're a marginalized community on a 4th grade level. And I'm telling you, I'll break out a daggone textbook for middle schoolers, and none of y'all will be able to get around it.
Come on.
You don't even got to go to the Journal of Nature, the Journal of Science. A regular history book Regular, normal history book dispels all the nonsense. And, you know, I'm just appalled. Harriet Tubman ain't real. You don't see white people saying that.
Not
Or
at
what
all.
you call white people making that crazy statement. But people who have a fractured consciousness, trying to figure out a way to supplement that with buffoonery. Not foolery, but buffoonery. Ridiculous, Doc. Come on.
Yeah. The reason why, and to add on, let's move on to Nat Turner for a second, which is very sad that this man died trying to free people from this country, and which was based on blackness. And if Dane Calloway is trying to say he didn't exist, he's one of the reasons why the movement moved the way it did, because it made us braver, wanted to war with the enemy and try to free ourselves. The first thing I want to point out is the history of photography. And the reason why I'm doing this first, because his thing is when he Googles Nat Turner, I think he's saying that Frederick Douglass picture comes up and so forth. I want to point out to people that there was no way to take his picture at the time because there weren't photographs being taken of anybody at the time. So it didn't exist until 1839. This is way after Nat Turner had passed. So if we're trying to use that as an argument, it makes absolutely no sense. So I said, let me just get that out the way just to start the conversation with Nat Turner.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's look at
Said Nat Turner wasn't real?
Yeah, man. Nat Turner wasn't real, brother.
They didn't know they didn't have that's like John Hanson. They ain't have no photography invented then. But the picture, you know, that's the black president. They didn't have photography yet.
All right. So this is from North Carolina Free Press, the 6th of September, 1831, newspapers.com. You know, we gather from various sources the following particulars of the insurrection of the Negroes in Southampton County in Virginia. The massacre commenced on Monday morning about 3 o'clock at Mrs. Whitehead's, where the Negroes put to death every white person on the premises. They then attacked Mr. Travis's house. The insurrection was headed by a black preacher, a slave belonging to Mr. Travis named Nat Turner, who had been taught to read and write and permitted to go about preaching in the country. 4 or 5 others only were first concerned. They had 15 others to join them, and by importunity, it should have been importunity or threats. Okay, about 20 others were induced to cooperate with them in the massacre. They were mounted to the number of 40 or 50, armed with knives and axes, a few firearms, and so forth. As they went from house to house, they drank ardent spirit, and it is supposed that in consequence of their being intoxicated or from mere fatigue, they paused in their murderous career about 12 o'clock on Monday. Early on Tuesday morning, they attempted to renew their bloody work. They made an attack upon Mr. Blunt, who was very unwell with the gout, and who, instead of flying, determined to brave them out. He had 7 or 8 pieces of firearms, which he put into the hands of his own slaves, who nobly and gallantly stood by him. They repelled the brigands, killed one, and took 2 prisoners. But anyway, it is said that one white man was found among the dead conspirators, disguised and blackened as a Negro. Not the ringleader, who calls himself General, pretends to be a Baptist preacher, great enthusiast, declares to his comrades that he's commissioned by Jesus Christ, and proceeds under his inspired direction that the late singular appearance of the sun was a sign for him, is among the number not yet taken, but it is believed he cannot escape. It is said that 31 Negroes were killed and 12 taken prisoners. The whites killed amount to 59, principally women and children. Joseph Travis' wife and 3 children, William Reese and mother, and so forth, and so on, and so on, and so on. All right, so I guess the newspaper made this up. I think they made this up. I don't believe none of that happened.
Well, Garfield, they must have made the whole thing up, because shout out to Brother Jabari and Reality Speaks. We took a trip up there to Southampton County with Baba Khalifa, where he takes you on a tour of where Nat Turner, you know, his church where he used to preach, because it was a church. It was actually like a spot that was right outside of a church, a little spot, a little area where he used to preach. He took us there. He took us to the different plantations where the killings took place. We actually went to the courthouse where he was hung. He was hung right outside the courthouse. And he even showed us some of the courthouse records. There was a female who actually went out there with Nat Turner and them. Her name was Lucy. And it talked about what Lucy, they described what Lucy was saying while she was walking to the hanging post. She was cursing the white folks out. You know, they thought that she was going to apologize. They were trying to get them to apologize and show remorse. But Lucy, she was right there with the brothers, and she got hung right along with the brothers. So I guess, like you said, brother Garfield, everything was made up. So I guess what we saw in Southampton County on Black Horse Road, I guess all of that stuff was fabricated, as well as the court records from the courthouse in Southampton County. So, Brother Ark, going back to you, what are your thoughts about them saying that Nat Turner did not exist?
You know damn well.
You know damn well you can't listen to them white people.
Are you
They always lying. They making up stuff. Ain't nowhere in the world we got to listen to them. You know Garfield and you know Dr. Maat that they a lie. The white man is the
I'm not doing this with him today, Garfield. I'm not doing this with him today.
You gotta joke them. You just gotta joke them. You cannot take these people serious. There's no way you can take these people serious. They're bananas.
All you gotta do, and then my whole thing is, Brother Ark, it's so many different, like, contemporaries of them have written about them. You know, so Garfield even, like, he just getting started. You can get into the letters that Frederick Douglass wrote about Harriet Tubman and to Harriet Tubman. So even their contemporaries, you know, wrote to them and wrote about them. And so I just, for the life of me, and Brother Ark, it goes back to something you and I have been talking about for years, Brother Garfield. We've been talking about this for years. Critical thinking skills. The importance of our people developing critical thinking skills. Because if you possess critical thinking skills, there's no way in hell you would sit there and believe anything that Dane Calloway said. I'm talking about regarding our ancestors. Like you said, brother Garfield, we're not attacking the brother, but just if our people.
Just for the record, I am. Okay. I'm definitely attacking him for being a disrespectful little son of a bee. You're disrespectful. The Jewish community will not allow this.
No, you're
not playing with them. They're going to ostracize you. They're going to get your money. Right? So, yes, I'm on full-blown attack of people that are idiots. Yeah, so I'm definitely attacking. So, yeah, don't put them two in it. Yeah, I'm attacking. I'm just as disrespectful as you are. These people are dead. They're honored ancestors. They put their time and effort into a real movement while you put your time and effort to some debauchery and foolery. You're a liar and you're deceiving people, and it's nonsense. Y'all reading primary sources from newspapers. He's reading from midair. Come on, man. And people take this on. They run around like the cowboys and the Indians. He's doing that personally. He has a voice. He has viewership.
He does.
He got people going to school talking nonsense. They can't even pass a basic history class of American history with that nonsense. Where's his documentation at, y'all? He has no documentation. He just flim-flam, bim-bam. It's craziness. We don't have to respect that. Somebody got to stand up. I'm the one. All day, every day, just call me the disrespectful guy. Absolutely, I'm not having it. Can't do it, ain't gonna be able to do it.
Ain't gonna be able to do it.
Ain't gonna be able to do it.
Somebody made a comment that there's just so many different images of him. No, there's not. There's no image of Nat Turner. What we have is people doing their own thing later on. There's no images of the man. All right, but let me just read this article real fast. This one is from the 8th of September, 1831, from the Democratic Free Press out of Detroit, Michigan. Again, Thursday, September 8th, 1831. The following is an extract of a letter written at Petersburg on Thursday night and addressed to a gentleman in this city. I have just read a letter to his father dated yesterday at Southampton. He states that he was among the first that went in pursuit of the Negro. They commenced near the North Carolina line direction. Their course towards Jerusalem led on by a fellow called Captain Nat Turner, a black. The banditry consisted of about 25 to 30. No others joined. He said that he has counted 40 corpses mostly women and children. Another letter says 70. They have secured several in jail for many miles around their track. The country is deserted by the women and children, but armed troops are in every mile in squads. When the first party. So, still later, I'm going to leave it right there. But let me just scroll down a little bit. But not improbably, they may have attempted to rally. 12 had been taken. Several had been apprehended. None of the riders, but suspected. 15 had been killed. The rest, with General Nat Turner, a preacher and a slave, and Will Artis, a free man of color at their head, were trying to make off. General E said that he was disbanding the military and had no doubt of restoring tranquility in a short time. And what I'm trying to read here, again, I'm just showing where they mentioned Nat Turner. Were they connected with the desperados who harassed North Carolina last year? Who is this Nat Turner? Where is he from? So, ladies and gentlemen, again, more proof of this guy in history terrorizing these slave masters and what they're doing to us. And this is Nat Turner doing this. It's not some ghost, not some supernatural guy that fell out the sky. This is one of our descendants who fought to make us free. And we got people disrespecting him. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like you said, and I hear where Ankh is coming from because he's right. You know, I think Garfield, you and I tend to be a little bit more diplomatic than Ankh. Ankh just raw. You Ankh like, hell no. You disrespecting our ancestors. The people in the chat like, yeah, Ankh is right. Like he's right. I mean, he is right. No other community would sit and stand for this. They wouldn't stand for the disrespect of their ancestors. You get what I'm saying? He's right. Jewish people would have ostracized him and they would have called him out. You get what I'm saying? But we, you know, Garfield, you know how you and I, we always a little bit more diplomatic. And that's why I love when Brother Ankh comes on the platform and give that other energy. He come with that energy. Hell no. You know, that Bobby Banger energy. And he's like, he's right. And so you had these ancestors who literally gave their lives for our liberation, and today we say they don't exist. I mean, come on, Garfield. They gave their lives for our liberation, and we sit back in 2023 and say they didn't exist. They didn't exist, and tear down their memory. Go ahead, Brother Garfield. I see you got something else up.
Yeah, this is another from the Courier Journal, and this is October 29th, 1831, the same year. Dear sir, I have received information to me so convincing of the fact that Nat Turner has been drowned in attempting to cross New River, and believing it will be some satisfaction to the public to know that the wretch has been punished by the justice of the deity for his offense. I think it proper to communicate the circumstances to you. It appears that after escaping from the two hunters on Price's Mountain, he was routed at the Gap Mills in Monroe and seen by several persons between that and Bowers Ferry, where he called on the 25th out to get over to the river. Mr. Bibb, the ferryman, demanded his pass and asked him some questions, at which he broke and took up the river. Some 9 or 10 days after, a drowned person was seen floating by the ferry. Mr. Bibb and some of his neighbors followed and got him out some 6 or 8 miles below. He had in his pockets and about a large knife, Spanish dirk pistol, and something like a diamond. Mr. Bibb recognized this person to be the same who called to cross the river, and all with whom I have conversed agree that if it were Nat Turner who was seen on Price's Mountain, it was he who has been drowned, and that he suits the description given in Your Excellency's proclamation in every particular except the nut on his arm, which was not examined. Very respectfully, your most obedient servant, George Allison, to the governor of Virginia. And this wasn't true, by the way, but again, they're saying that somebody named Nat Turner drowned. If he wasn't a real guy or fictional, why are they looking for the guy who's fictional? Makes no sense. Crazy.
Right. It's craziness. It's craziness. Like the whole thing is bananas. And I see Brother Walter Sniper said, I would like to hear Garfield address Dane Calloway's "Where Are the Slave Ships?" So we can segue. I think this is a great segue.
I got it pulled up. Oh,
it's over. It's over. Here we go.
I got it pulled up.
All right, cool. I'm gonna pull those down. And
really?
Brother Garfield, did you have any more work you wanted to share before we jump into that on Nat Turner?
But what I wanted to say regarding Nat Turner, I'm gonna just add this to it, that we do have in 1843 our brother Henry Highland Garnet.
Share your screen.
No, it's not to be shared.
Okay. Go ahead.
In 1843, 12 years later after he died, talked about Nat Turner at the National Negro Convention. We also have the narrative of the life of the guy called Henry Box Brown. For those who don't know, Henry Box Brown mailed himself out of freedom to the Quakers. It's a cute story. It's very funny. He put himself in a box and mailed himself to Pennsylvania to the Quakers, and that's how he got freedom. And he wrote.
There's an exhibit, brother Garfield, at the Blacks and Wax Museum. Brother Unc know what I'm talking about, right? In the Blacks and Wax Museum on North and Broadway in Baltimore, they have a wax figure of him peeping out of a box. So, like you said, it's a really cute story. Go ahead, brother Garfield.
And then we have, he talks about him in his slave narrative, and then you have William Cooper Neal, who wrote an account of Nat Turner in his history book around 1855. Then you had Harriet Ann Jacobs, also an escaped slave, refers to Nat Turner 30 years later in 1831 in her narrative, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. So we have, ladies and gentlemen, people talking about Nat Turner, not a fictional person. We have Black people talking about him, a tradition that's been going on for centuries or even years, a little bit of years before these people have started writing about Nat Turner. So Nat Turner being a real person there's no doubt he's a real person. This is not fiction. This is somebody who died to free us. Mm-hmm. Although I'm from Jamaica, the tradition carry on to Jamaica too, because whatever happened here inspired people to make movements abroad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And vice versa, brother Garfield.
Yep.
And vice versa. So good look at. Thanks for that info, brother Garfield. So let's move into the whole idea that, or the myth, the lie that the slave trade never happened. We were always here. We were always here. That's what they say. We are indigenous to the Americas. We were always here. The slave trade never happened. If so, where's the proof? Where are the slave ships? You all don't have the slave ships, even though, there's a whole documentary on Netflix, The Descendants. Guys, you got to watch it. It's based on the book by Zora Neale Hurston, Barracoons. And we know barracoons is a Spanish word for barracks. And so it's called Barracoons by Zora Neale Hurston. She went to visit Cudjoe Lewis. And she wrote down his story and his words. And she I think the book may have been published posthumously, but nonetheless, Zora Neale Hurston interviewed Cudjoe Lewis, who was on the ship, the Clotilda, that was brought. I think it was Mississippi and Alabama. Is brought into Mississippi, Alabama. And they were sent to plantations. This was when the slave trade was abolished. They were still going over there, getting our ancestors and bringing us here. And so there's a documentary on Netflix called The Descendants, where they're literally, Garfield, they're interviewing the descendants of Cudjoe Lewis and those people who were on the Clotilda. They got a little area down there called Africa Town. So I guess these people, brother Uncle, are all acting. I mean, and brother Garfield, they're all acting. They are the descendants. And they then, when I watched the documentary, they take you to where Cudjoe Lewis was, where he's buried, right? They take you to where he's buried. They show you his tombstone and everything. And when you read that book by Zora Neale Hurston, Barracoons, he talked about how he was kidnapped at the age of 19, at the age of 19 from his ethnicity. And he talked about what happened in the barracks where he was housed. He talked about what he experienced on the ship. And he talked about what it was like being on, the plantation. He talked about this stuff in Barracoons. And then we see, we now the descendants down, and they got a whole town, brother Unc and brother Garfield, Africa Town.
Yeah, Africa Town.
Come on. So I'm like, did they just make up all of this stuff? But go ahead, brother Unc. I'm going to pass it on to you. I land my plane.
Yeah, so I'll just share the screen real quick. Evolution, science, which is part of science, archaeology is where we plant our flag at as a foundation, be able to tell ancient history, African American history, and our history in general. Just running around clicking through the internet, that's not something we do. That's why it always sounds like where'd they get that from? How they doing that? Y'all following the white people. See, that's the game, okay? When in reality, we've done shows on where science started to come into being at. We talk about this all the time. Matter of fact, the community talks about how we invented everything. That's the whole game. Remember, we did everything. There's nothing we didn't do. So I'm confused when it comes to science. See, there's nothing we ever did, and we did everything and gave white people everything. But now, where the rubber meets the road and is trying to tell our story, all of a sudden, we practicing white people things. Like intellect wasn't a part of early Homo sapien. Had a whole discussion based around that. So it's crazy. And so I'll share the screen right here. All right. And just the project. Slave Wreck Project, Smithsonian, National Museum of African American History and Culture. All you got to do is go down to Washington, D.C. and see the pieces of a particular slave ship. This is not something we making up. It's right here for you to get. Y'all can, matter of fact, I want you to go and get the code.
We can't see it. I can't see the code. I can't see the code, Brother Ankh. It just says Slave Wrecks Project in the news.
Should come up now. Did it come up?
No.
It ain't sharing it?
No. Just stop sharing it and reshare it again. Right. Let's do that. If they're in different browsers, that's probably why, because it's sharing me. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, it might do it like that. I'm not sure. But all right, I can put the link for y'all. All right. I'll just put the link in the back for y'all.
Before Ong say anything, let me just respond to everybody in the chat. You could claim whatever you want to claim, but don't downgrade or denigrate Africans who are in the West. You don't have to do that to prop yourself up. If you want to be indigenous, do you. But you don't need to say Nat Turner didn't exist. You don't need to say Harriet Tubman didn't exist. You don't need to say none of that. Leave it alone. Be who you are. Nobody's stopping you. Don't lie on cultures that already exist and history exists of them to make a point. I said it at the beginning of the show. I'm going to say it again. You could claim whatever you want. I don't know who you are. You could be John from down the block. You could be whoever you want to be. All I'm saying is you don't have to disrespect a culture that's here to make a point. That's
a fact.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, let me share this tab right here. So let's deal with the Shipwreck Project. Let's deal with some of the highlights. More than 12 million Africans were enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade era, 1525 to 1867. An estimate 1,000 ships, okay, traversing the Atlantic Middle Passage are believed to have wrecked. I'm gonna say this again. An estimate 1,000 slave ships traversing the Atlantic Middle Passage are believed to have wrecked. First of all, the Atlantic Ocean is a ferocious ocean. Second of all, it's salt water. Third of all, they was wooden ships. If anybody don't know, study geology, study oceans. This ocean breaks down material, whether it's metal, wood, in particular wood. They're wooden ships, ladies and gentlemen. Most people don't even understand how large the Atlantic Ocean is and how deep it is and how the currents, the underwater currents, the above water currents. It's matter of fact, shipwreck archaeology in general is hard. So people who just talking, it's ridiculous. But this is something Dr. Maat can actually respect right here. So if we're talking about slavery, then we're talking about business. You cannot talk about slavery and not talk about business. And if you're talking about business, then you got to talk about this right here. This is the British Museum.
Come on.
Keep our point. I first heard about this company about maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago from Dr. Maat. She had in one of her presentations. The Royal African Company. British Museum. Now, who is this company?
Teach,
Okay. African Royal Company, primary name, Royal African Company. Other names, RAC, details, organization, institution, British. Other dates, 1672, 1757, biography. The Mercantile Company, it's a mercantile company funded and invested by who? Charles II. Now we have our implications, right, of these powerful men, these leaders, putting money into this business. It's a company. And his brother James, the Duke of York, to trade slaves, gold and silver from West Africa. RAC ships. Look, it's documented. Ships sailed from what? Bristol, London, Liverpool, and an average of 5,000 African slaves were shipped to the Caribbean, Virginia in the period from 1680 to 86 after James' fall. Not gonna read the rest of this, but it's very clear. It's a company, it's a mercantile company, it's business, it's record. These ships were insured. We don't have to argue with you over this. We can show you the insurance documents. The same way, as a matter of fact, this is how we know it's slave ships. The same way you get car insurance and they tell you the model and the make of the daggone car, it's the same way they did it then. This is not brand new. To the civilized world, to the organized world. Let me make that clear. To the organized business world. It was a business venture. And the only people acting like it wasn't no slaves is the people just making it up as they go. Just saying what they want to say. Just say it. That's all you got to do and make it sound good. We're surrounded by people that just say it. No documentation, no Garfield brought you firsthand accounts, the whole 9 yards, newspapers, Dr. Maat teaching a major university. This is how it go down in a major university. See, Doc, they need to sit in your class and see how it go down, how you put up the board, the stuff, the technology you use. See, you're ahead of your time in technology. They don't even know that, Doc. When you teach a class, you use new material, new ways to put it together. You're not sitting up there in your college, university, and you are a professor. Probably not. The students love you. They be trying to run from your class, though.
They do. They do. They do.
Hey, let me if I can, I've never shown this live. It's on my Facebook, but when I went to the UK for my books.
I
actually have primary.
So this is where our ancestors were docked. They said over 3,100 ships came back and forth to London carrying our ancestors.
Wow.
Those who want to deny the slave trade, I suggest you guys come to the Museum of London Docklands. On the top floor is where they actually go in to where the with all the information and the sources and the role that our ancestors played in being in London. So this is the London docks. All right, all the way down that side. Hey, we helped to build all of this, family. So when we're in the United States saying that we built this, we had our cousins who were building another area. Peace and love. Here's a better view of the docks. Better view of the docks. That's where our ancestors were taken and dropped off, man. It's crazy. Yep.
All right, so this is the docks. Let me just do this. Give me 3 minutes, Doc. Let me just run through this real quick.
Go ahead. You have it all the time. Good.
This is where we were dropped off. All right, London docks. You go to the Museum of London Docks, and shout out to my brother, who was my tour guide. And this is the River Thames from London Bridge to Woolwich Warren in 1802. And this is like the areas where they were actually had the slaves and so forth. All right. This is something I want you guys to understand. The sugar and London sugar and slavery, the East India Company. We all study all of this stuff, right? But I want y'all to see this video right here, because we always see this video online. There's a lot of people that go there and show this particular video, right? But that's the gibbet, by the way. If you guys are not familiar, how they would have you on the ships in this thing called the gibbet, all right? And that's what it looks like and so forth. The execution dock. All right.
Right now we're at the London docks. This is a legendary spot at the London docks that documents basically the name of the ship, the tons, the captain, the principal owner, declared the port, what year, embark, enslaved Africans.
Oh, and where they came from. Oh,
like to say, hey, you know what? The slave trade didn't happen, but y'all got to stop this nonsense. The evidence is clear. Look at this. So we have the names of the ship, the tons, the principal owner, cleared port. This is the enslaved Africans and where they come from. See that? See all in places? And this is in the London Dock Museum. See, this is the area called London Sugar and Slavery. I've seen a video on YouTube where actually somebody came and did this. But look at the number of slaves they're taking in and the year. 1790. This is the areas they're coming from. Destination is they're going to Jamaica. Look at that. And the numbers is decided. So this is it right here, family. This is the whole thing on the documentation of these people, keeping the records of where we were enslaved and carried from country to country and so forth.
You guys notice you have the name of the slave master. So sometimes when you wear a name, it comes from whoever the slave master is, or the ship owner, or so forth.
Look at that.
400 and something.
300 and something on one ship, 415. Look at that.
And y'all want to deny this family? It's ridiculous.
Crazy. Where they going? Where they going? Where they taking them at? Jamaica, St. Vincent, Dominic. You see, we're the same people. But they want to split us up and say who is Israelites and who is which tribe. It's craziness. This is beautiful recordation. Not a good history to remember. But look at the names of the owners and some of the last names that we wear. Look at the last names. See? So if you go to these islands, you're going to have people with these numbers. Calvert, with these names, I'm sorry. Anderson.
You know what the killer is? You know what the killer is? Once the slaves come here, right? If you look carefully, the countries of African countries that they took them from, the countries that they land, of destination, and then you get it again. Was it the enslaved Africans?
Yep.
All of the dictations of what they carried and where they went.
It's just sad, man. Sad. So sad. The record is here, family. You have people that actually denied that a slave trade happened. Look at this. They got a slave ship named John, Eagle, Iris, Concord, Duke of Buccleuch, Sugarcane. 362 people. Wow. And you still got people denying.
We've got a ship called Fly, Gambia.
A ship named Gambia. Look at that.
Prince.
The nerve.
They've got even the biggest nerve. The ship called Sugarcane.
Sugarcane. Wow. Nuts. All right, family.
And
All right.
go ahead, Brother Garfield.
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to show the people this right here. Get this book, man. The Portuguese in West Africa, 1415 to 1670 by Malin Newitt. Get this daggone book, man. The Portuguese, there's so many letters in here, Brother Garfield, of the Portuguese writing down and discussing what they were doing in West Africa, who did what. They even talk about Elmina and what happened when they first built the castle over there. I mean, like, this is in their own words. And so one thing, and I love that you and Brother On keep reiterating this and emphasizing, they kept good records. They wrote every damn thing down. So you can read the Portuguese words. Okay, family, from 1415 to 1670, they was writing letters back and forth to King Alfonso and all kinds of stuff, talking about what was happening when they were in Cape Verde, when they were in different, you get what I'm saying, different little islands off of the coast of Portugal, little islands off of the coast of, Africa. When they went into West Africa, they talked about how at one point they couldn't get past Cape Bojador, right? Because they were already in Morocco and Mauritania. You get what I'm saying? And they was trying to go further south, and they kept on, ships kept disappearing in Cape Bojador. They talk about all of that, family. So just get the book and read. Just read. And that's why, Brother Ankh and Brother Garfield, I say it all the time, we've been saying it, our people, it's imperative that our people develop critical thinking skills. See, critical thinking skills will guard you against the charlatans in the community, okay? The ones who are scamming and scheming and taking your money and falsifying history. Critical thinking skills will guard you against them. You have to develop critical thinking skills, And so, you remember when I used to say how I didn't appreciate, it was sad to me and disheartening that, remember I used to talk about how people, I'm not going to call names, but how folks used to be impressed by a couple of characters in this community who had a great memory. So they would read something, they'd be able to regurgitate it really fast because they had a great memory. And remember, Unc, I kept saying,
stupid Seti. But go ahead.
So remember, Unc, I kept saying, remembering is the lowest level of thinking. Like, I'm not impressed by that. And remember, I said people need to develop higher order thinking skills. So understanding the material, right? Being able to apply the material, being analytical and evaluative, right? Developing those critical thinking skills, because again, those critical thinking skills will guard you against the charlatans in this community. Brother Ankh, I want to ask you this, and we can close out on this note. This whole idea that we're not Africans, the whole idea, what was that? Philip Kwaku? Yep, Philip Kwaku. And I went to where he was buried.
Dr. Mayat's preferred reading list right here too, for the record. Scholarly works on the subject. But go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, Philip Kwaku. I'm glad that you brought up that reference. You know, he was over in the slave castles in Cape Coast. He was converting, you know, the Africans who were housed there to Christianity. And they buried, you know, what's sad, Brother Ankh, and I have the pictures. I can find it while you're talking. They didn't bury him where they buried like the captains and some of the people. They buried him separately than they did them. You know, so even in death, he's segregated. Even in death, he's segregated from everybody else. But they were using him to go to convert the enslaved Africans to Christians right there in Cape Coast. And like I said, I went over there, I saw where he was buried and all of that family. So these aren't fictitious people. You know, we verified this stuff like with our own eyes. Brother Garfield, go ahead.
Don't say it, Garfield. Hold on. I just want to make this point, Garfield.
Go ahead, bro.
Garfield and Dr. Maat have given you firsthand accounts. So if you don't have a museum to take us in, okay, to show what Garfield just showed us, then it's really not up for discussion. New rule. We got a new rule. Whatever you're talking about, it has to be in a museum. Right? It has to be in a quality museum, not just any old thing you made, but a serious, with a curated material, right? And look up the word curator, right? Museum like Garfield just did. Garfield don't have to argue that. Dr. Maat went to the slave coast. She don't have to argue that. She went there. Garfield showed you these ports. There's no debating that. No. Only amongst the ignorant do they debate that, because they're ignorant of such material that the brother and the sister just brought out. There's no getting around that. It should really bring tears to your eyes. That shows how disconnected you are. Go ahead, Mr. Garfield.
Yeah, I was gonna. I thought you were gonna bring up the Igbo landing because with the
that's your favorite subject.
Because you right there. You know what I'm saying? These are Igbo family, almost 100, who defeated the captains of the ships, and some of them committed suicide instead of going into slavery. I mean, they're talking about Chukwu. According to one of the sources, they were talking about Chukwu, who is one of the main deities of the Igbo paradigm. And they decided to commit suicide rather than be slaves. Igbo landing, they took over the ship. I think it was the Morovia or one of those ships. Where did they come from? Where did they come from speaking their language? This is just nuts. Where did they learn Chukwu from? If they were indigenous Americans, where did they learn about Chukwu? Chukwu is just a regular word in the American indigenous language. It's just a regular word. But these people refuse, and they jumped into the ocean instead of saying, "Hey, we're coming over here. We'd rather go back or die for what we believe in." But I'm just gonna leave it right there. Igbo landing. Google it, research it. That is more than enough evidence to tell you that they were taken from one area to the next and they refused to be here, the Igbos. And these were all Igbo people, or I'm sorry, Igbo people, because the G is silent. But go ahead, sister, I'm done.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, I haven't been I know some people were trolling. I was reading the comments and, you know, I know some folks. Yeah, I know some folks trolling. So I just, you know, over the years, Brother Garfield, you know, you and Brother Ankh taught me to ignore the trolls. Y'all taught me to.
Not today. Some guy said, Daniels, he says, actually, have you looked into Dane's Calloway work? Dane Calloway doesn't have any work. Like, is it me? Have I lost my mind? Like, see, this is the problem here. Y'all don't even know what work is.
Yeah, that's sad. It's Brother
Garfield, watch this. We know from studying our Black historians, okay? They actually go to the places. So Dr. Maat actually went to the slave dungeons, right? And we can safely say she's in there doing work there. She's showing us the stuff, right? She could put that in her own documentary and it will be verified by other communities. Brother Garfield, he traveled across the mighty pond. He's in the museum. He's showing that's his work, because he's showing these things, and it can be verified, right, by other institutions. No matter what level you think them two are on with the subject, they actually went there and did that. We seen Raw Born in them. Each one teach one. They go to the different sites in Baltimore, Maryland. In New York. Right? You can safely say that's their work. When I go to museums and showing you the scars and talking about them, that's actually work. But when you're just sitting on the camera with a microphone and about how to boo, this person don't do, that's not work. That's called foolery.
Come on.
No, I don't got to look at this fool, because every time I look at it, I can't get past 5 sentences without beating them half to death. You see, you know what? We don't know what work is.
No.
Just because people show up on a camera and a microphone, they should be taking cameras and microphones away from 99.99% of the people that's on YouTube.
Facts.
I'm telling you now. Listen, sharp, educated communities don't allow anybody to speak for them. You're going to get identified as charlatans. And see, they get mad at me when I say, look, y'all actually big up them charlatans. And if I say certain names, they automatically, Dr. Savior, I can't believe it. He's a charlatan to the rest of the world. No matter what you say, oh, he's dead. Yeah, but God bless the dead. It's the truth. And nobody runs from the truth but us. You know why? Because the truth hurt. And the truth make you look yourself in the mirror, and you start to realize that there are things that you still have to do for yourself first. Yourself, then your family, then your community.
That's a fact.
But if it's based off a lie, you can't get nowhere. That's why the conscious community ain't built nothing. It's some things coming up. Doc, you know it. Right?
I know.
It's some things coming up, and y'all gonna see the difference. Those who promote scientific literacy are actually doing things amongst real live Black babies that need it.
Yeah, facts.
Hey,
Garfield had to pay his own way to go all the way across the pond. And people don't know, Garfield, but you invited me to go with you to pay my ticket. People don't know that. People don't know that Dr. Maat allows me to teach in her college, teach a class. It's a reason for this, because we understand what the level is. Go ahead, Garfield.
Yeah, I was going to say that just let's remember that tonight is the debate between Rawborn and Aboriginal Power tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's on pay-per-view. I don't know if Sister got the link. She could put
I got the link. I have the link. Let me throw it in the chat. Right now.
It's going to be a very cordial discussion. It's a debate, and we're going to put this work in. Come check it out. The debate is about if Black folks in America are Aboriginal to this area, or they are from African descended people, or African descendants, or African American descendants. And I'm gonna say this to everybody that's watching. Come check it out. Hear the information, because I'm opening up a dialogue between the Black community and the so-called claimants of the Aboriginal stuff. So Top Cat, you and Unc need to get in the ring about the out of Africa theory. That's on the table. Don't run. All right. And whoever else want to come along, man, with the tomfoolery. We ready. We got guns blazing, and we're gonna have some fun while we're doing it. All right?
Absolutely. And I can't wait, brother Garfield. I'm gonna put you all on the big screen tonight and sit back with my popcorn and just listen. You know where my money going. You know my money's going on Rawborn.
Hey, we need to start taking side bets, man. We need to take side bets. Shout out to Miss Tiffany in the building, by the way. Miss Tiffany, much love and respect to the sister in the building.
Oh yeah.
Peace and love, Miss Tiffany.
Brother Garfield.
Historian.
Yeah, Brother Garfield, throw it in the because I don't know why my messenger isn't coming up on Facebook. Can you put it in our back chat? And
it's in the back chat right now. I did give it to you.
Okay, so let me go. All right,
I'll give you the flyer and what do you call it? Yeah.
Where's the private chat? No, it's not in our private chat. It's in our
private chat on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I see the flyer. Let me show the flyer, and let me grab the link.
And one sister, go always support you, man. Outside of Dr. Maat is Miss Tiffany and Sister Mika one. Those type of people, they support us. They on every channel. They on channel, Dr. Maat, my channel. So we got to do something for Miss Tiffany and the loyalists. I'm gonna give them a name, because we got to give people names.
Oh yeah. This is that's the flyer right there, brother Garfield.
it is. Yes, it is.
And family, I'm dropping the link in the chat right
By the
now.
way, the sign that he's giving is what type of sign? That's not an Aboriginal sign on the flag.
Brother Garfield. And I want to shout out the 393 people who are watching. We decided, that StreamYard has this new option, this new feature where you can, I can stream. If I'm a guest on someone's platform, I can bring my people and vice versa. So between platforms, we have about 391. 100 of mine, but the other 291, that's Brother Garfield. I'm trying to get like you, Brother Garfield, one day.
That's our Brother Garfield podcast and the Dagger Squad YouTube. We got 2 more YouTube channels. Dagger Squad YouTube.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I want to just salute everybody who's watching. And family, make sure that you subscribe to these YouTube channels. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to Dagger Squad, my channel, Brother Onk. So you got a Real Black Atheist, Pseudo Killers. Make sure you subscribe to all of these channels and hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you're notified. And also, family, before you get out of here, make sure that you thumb up all of the streams. Thumb up all of the streams. I see Brother Sean P in the chat. He said, thumb up all of the streams. So make sure you thumb up Brother Garfield streams. Make sure you navigate on over to mine. Thumb it up, family. And make sure that you share the stream. Brother Garfield, you wanted to say something?
What do you call it? I'm going live right after this. I got to do a 6-hour marathon of a video of each one teach one. They're going in on all these guys and the Aboriginal. So it's going to be a 6-hour video. Out the debate. So we're going live right after this on Brother Garfield and Brother Garfield podcast and Dagger Squad YouTube channel. Both of them at the same time. We're gonna have some fun. It's gonna be an ancient shelling. In Jamaica, we call it a shelling.
Shelling.
Yeah, shelling. And y'all would call it killing over here. We call it a shelling in Jamaica. Y'all could enjoy that right now. All right?
All right.
All right. Peace and love, sis.
Hey, peace and love to you. Thanks for coming through, Brother Garfield.
Oh, hold on. Before we go, hold on 1 second.
All right, hold on. While you doing that, let me plug this book club. So, family, join me tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel to discuss Chapter 2 of They Were Her Property. It says White Women Slave Owners in the American South by Dr. Stephanie Rogers. We discussed the intro in Chapter 1 the week before last. And so tomorrow we're going to be discussing Chapter 2, family. So even if you don't have the book and haven't read the chapter, please tune in. Again, we're going to be talking about white women as slave owners, and that's something you just never talked about. So make sure that you tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel. Go ahead, Brother Garfield.
Misconceptions and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites, Volume 1, out on Amazon. Get your copy. The Hebrews are running. Oh man,
Brother Garfield, they're mad, Brother Garfield.
Oh, they mad as hell right now. They're mad as hell. All right, we out of here. Who's that? Somebody that sent me a friend request. Oh, okay.
Brother Onk, did you want to say something? Did you want to say something, Brother Onk? You sound really. Yeah, now
hear me now?
Now I hear you.
I want to end.
Why they gave you technology, Onk? I don't know why they did that.
Oh, they needed to. I had to up the game. So me personally, I make sure that I don't debate those who are not equal on said subject matter. And I'm not saying it through arrogance, but none of them get past it. So I just like to end any debate that they thought they was going to have with me about any subject pertaining to this. I just like to get it out the way first. And I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to add nothing to it. I'm going to stay right here. That's any conversation dealing with the peopling of Americas. You can see the screen, right, Doc?
Yeah, I see it.
It's called Ancient Human Genomes, Keys to Understanding Our Past, right? And so it's simple for me. I'll just click this right here. You would have to get past this. Genome clues to ancient migrants. 3 studies illustrate the power of archaeogenomics, okay, to elucidate how modern humans moved and mixed as they populated the globe. Right? You got 3 different sections here. I like to go to North America first. Watch this. This kills the whole conversation about who was in North Africa, right? It say the ancestors of the late Stone Age people of Morocco, watch this, came from the Near East and from sub-Saharan Africa, but not from Europe. Let's get that straight. We move here to the Americas. The ancient Native American genome suggests different models of how populations may have split and migrated during the initial settlement of the Americas. It's right here, the Beringer, right? We see the ice sheet over there. That's called the Laurentide ice sheet. just about cuts North America in half, and they got these proposed routes right here. Nobody's getting past this. So for me, the conversation is over with. This is from the Journal of Science, and there's just a multitude of articles that present the case. There's no getting around this, right? There's no plan. And it is what it is. So for me, I don't even like to, I don't even enter into a conversation not unless I have the checkmate pieces. So yeah, it's not called a debate. A debate is when two opposing sides have information, right? And they're going to debate that. So there's only one side to the conversation, and that's science. They have nothing. And see, we need to start realizing that, Doc, that it's actually not a debate.
Right?
It's
I was
not.
thinking it when Garfield said it. I was like, this is not really a debate,
right?
Yeah,
It's just a nut running around half crazy, right? That's what it is. I mean, I'm just telling you what the other communities would call it. They would not call it a debate. They would call it a nut, right, up against it. And it's crazy to me. So yeah, that's my stance right there. The whole outer Africa theory, you have to have a model that will support, and if you don't have that, you're just talking. You come with a book from the 1800s talking, they act like you got a source. Craziest thing ever. So yeah, that's my stance right there. And everybody is talking about the North Africa, who that, who not. That goes for that too. That whole article, it deals with all that. So yeah, we're not playing, and you would have to get around that. It's fun, right? But it ain't fun for me.
It is fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
All right, Brother Onk. Any last words, Brother Onk? I know Brother Garfield and I gave ours, but any closing words for listening audience?
My closing words is, support the channel, like and subscribe. Okay, we over there with the pseudo killers, like and subscribe. Sarnetta's University, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Real Black Atheists, like and subscribe. I tried to make it stream from there. I don't know if I did it right. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's new for me. Talked about it earlier. I wasn't even thinking about that you're going to use it. But what I'm saying is these channels are based in scientific literacy. It's important. Scientific literacy is a vaccine against the charlatans that come amongst you.
Love it, Brother Onk. Love it, Brother Onk. All right, but I appreciate my brothers coming on. Thank you so much. Brother Garfield said, when you call up the family, we show up, and you all do. I call Onk. Hey, Onk, I need you to come on tomorrow 11. All right, I'll be there. Brother Garfield, I need you to come. I'll be there. Okay, I'll be there. Sweet. I'll be there. And I appreciate my brothers coming on.
You messed up a name. You messed up a name.
Who?
It says the attack on Black history, Calloway.
You know what?
Aboriginals. You messed that name up.
Why is Calloway?
Because he's conning people.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I do appreciate you all coming on the platform and helping me unpack this topic. So we got to do this again soon, y'all, because it seems like we do this every 6 or 7 months, but we got to do it again. And I'll definitely be in the building tonight, Brother Garfield, for the debate. And so thank you again for everybody, who tuned in today. Again, make sure that you hold up, Brother Onk, golly, let me get it out, man. So please like and subscribe to the channels, family. Make sure that you like and subscribe to all of the channels that we name, family. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, Brother Onk, what would you like to say? Let me get it out.
Garfield, I will not be at that debate. I'm just going to send you the money. I refuse. Send you the money for the ticket. I won't be there. Definitely support you.
I'll be there, Garfield.
Not me. Head will explode. Might have come on mute. I can't do it.
Oh, you just gonna be watching, right? You're not
I'm not watching.
Oh, Brother Onk,
I'm sending your money right now. How much the ticket,
the way you have it set up is a Zoom link, right?
It's a Zoom link, yeah.
That's why Onk said his head would explode, because you would be on the Zoom. Okay.
Wait, I'm not doing that. What? I got better stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 books coming out. I ain't got time for that. How much is the tickets, Garfield?
Well, I'm going to still support. You know what, Brother Garfield?
Yeah, I'm going to support.
$20.
Yeah,
I'm there, brother. I'm there, Brother Garfield. It's going to be a good laugh for me. All right, family. So we out. Peace and Black power. Let me get my Dr. Frances Cress Welsing song ready for our sincere love to God. Today is her birthday. May our queen rest in paradise.
Yeah. Yeah. I shade to the ancestors. Dear Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, I just wanted to thank you for all the lessons you left us. So yes, I'm more than grateful. I read the ISIS papers when I was locked in them cages. It helped me through that time they gave me when I was a baby boy. I'm a man now. I understand now. Since you deciphered the symbols, I see they plan now. It's penis envy at the root of it all. The gun as a phallic symbol, I'm glad you had the balls to tell it. When you debated the scholars like Dr. William Shockley, you kept a godly composure in the face of these Nazis. These are valuable lessons, still wish we had your presence. But would I trade to chop it up with you over some breakfast? When you went back to the essence, they sent their weak professors to throw dirt on your legacy. Yeah, they disrespected the Yvette Carnells and Mark Lamar Hells. How could they stand in front of a mirror and face themselves? Professional white ass kissers fulfilling that scripture from the book of John Henry Clark. I just laugh at you niggas. I know you chillin' with Dr. Ben and Asa Hilliard, Van Sertima, Auntie Diop, Chancellor Williams. Shout out to Dr. Sabi. Shout out to Delbert Blair, Laila Africa, Amos Wilson. We well prepared to walk in these giant footsteps that you left us. We give thanks and hope that these ancestors protect us. These are the keys to the color confrontation. Read it and weep, motherfuckers. We know the basis of all your evil is genetic annihilation. That's why we gotta love ourselves more than we hate them. These are the keys to the color confrontation. Read it and weep, motherfuckers. We know the basis of all your evil is genetic annihilation. That's why we gotta love ourselves more than we hate them.
If we do not understand that a war is going on of immense proportion, if we think it's fun and games, if we think we can proceed as business as usual, my answer is that we are not oriented and that it is a case of serious mental illness, meaning not able to face reality.
All right, peace and black power, family. Peace and black power. Uhuru Sasa Amani Na Mandala.